I will be diligently studying my book of the way
Okay.
and considering which chapter to read for everybody else at breakfast.
All right. You or Haruna did pay for y'all to have both a warm breakfast and a nice hearty lunch as long as y'all were out by noon. So you basically have. It's about crack of dawn right now. No roosters are crowing yet, if there are any. But if any of you are awake, it is about crack of dawn. It's just starting to get light outside, and you have until high noon to basically rest up, recuperate, and get your plans in order before you have to leave the inn or pay for another night.
Do they have apples?
The inn?
Yeah.
They don't have like an apple tree around, but they probably have a couple relatively fresh apples on the counter.
Like available for breakfast?
Yeah, just like laying in a basket with probably a couple oranges as well. Maybe a slightly prunish looking bunch of grapes as well.
Okay. I promised dandelion and apples, so I will grab one of those and head out to feed it to him.
All right. He's still outside. Looks like he's munched around most of the grass. There's not really a stable outside of the inn you're in, but he's still hitched to that post. There's like a hitching post with a little water trough in front of it. So he's currently drinking some water there. He looks up at you when you step out front and kind of flicks his tail a little bit.
Hi, Dandelion. Don't worry, I didn't forget about you. Give him the apple.
My family owns horses. That's what they do.
That explains it.
They just like shake their head and go.
Karina was the real horse all the whole time.
I am. I'm allergic to them, so it's actually my sister and my mom that usually took care of them. But
yeah,
I used to live on a horse ranch.
Well, I will hold up the apple to Dandelion and let him munch on it before I head back inside.
He takes a big chunk out of it, chews it, dumps it down, and then takes the rest from my hand. And you think he's pretty thankful. You can't quite understand horse right now, but you're getting all the right signals.
Okay, that's good. I'll give him another pat on the nose, and then I'll head back inside to get some food for myself.
All right. It's a pretty simple fare. It's not quite gruel, but it's basically a basic oatmeal with probably a little bit of whatever meat was left over from the fire last night on the side, and then any fruit and looks like some celery stalks. So a big breakfast, but nothing special. It is, however, as promised, hot.
Cool. I'll settle down and start eating, grab some celery.
I did forget to write down who was rooming with the two NPCs. Were they rooming together?
I think they were rooming together.
Okay.
I don't think anybody was rooming with them.
Oh, it was Ren that was rooming with them, and he's on the cot.
Oh, I thought I was taking. Okay.
Which means that anyone who is still asleep, like probably Wool or Amelia, after a couple hours, the light will start shining through the windows. There's no shutters or anything on them. So around probably 8 or 9 in the morning, there's not really any clocks here, but 8 or 9 in the morning, you kind of get bleary-eyed and your lights right through the window right on your face. Same for Bartolo if you are still asleep.
I'll be waking up a little bit, getting all my things prepared. Heavy armor takes a while to get on.
Yeah, I believe without assistance, it takes 10 minutes.
Yep. Well, I'll take my time. There's no rush this morning, so I'll head down once I'm ready.
And Wool, anything special you doing before heading down?
I mean, they would have woken up early-ish to try to count all the stuff, realize that there's no time, and then frantically pack everything up again. So you hear like a lot of like clinking and clanging and before she sort of patters down and like screams like breakfast. Oh god, breakfast.
It's the same simple affair. You either get a little bit of grapes, a bunch of grapes,
I'll take those.
some porridge,
The
oat
grapes.
porridge, really, and then you're not quite sure what meat it is, but some kind of old leftover meat from last night.
Am I supposed to stir all this together?
Are you asking that to anyone in particular?
Yes. I guess Myron. She seems reliable.
Never heard of anyone putting celery in porridge. Though if you do decide to try it, let me know.
Okay, I'll try it.
Roll a d10.
What? Why?
Porridge
Just to
is
see how
poison.
much you like it. On a scale of 1 to 10, that's how much you like it.
Consequences for my actions? What is this?
This is D&D.
7.
This is literally the consequences for actions game.
7.
It's not bad. Since the oats aren't really like, it's just kind of a warm cereal. They aren't really flavored by anything. It actually kind of goes pretty well with the celery.
It's good. Ish.
Myron beams at you and then goes back to her eating.
Scoff.
After a couple minutes, you will see Haruna come down. She's got the double orange pigtails, slightly horns just poking just a little bit above the hair, so you can tell that she's actually a Shu Oni, and then slightly pointed teeth, and then freckles. And she comes down, still with her arm left arm in a splint, and she says, "I'm just." What was the accent I used for her? I don't.
Scottish?
It was kind of Scottish, but it wasn't like super heavy. I'll just make something up again. I'm just here for 2 bowls of porridge. I'll take one up for myself and Stephen, and then the lady, the barkeep y'all met last night, kind of heavy set, but the strong-looking brunette woman lifts 2 bowls of porridge and says, "Here you are. You already paid. On your way." And then Haruno's, "Thanks." She looks at the rest of y'all that are all down here and says,
Yeah, I'll go help her with one of them.
I think I've got it, but I was
With one arm?
Yeah, she's like kind of cradling one under, like, in the crock of her elbow, and the other one in her hand. She says, we'll be fine, but myself and Steven, if he feels up to it, we'll be down in about an hour to discuss what we should do, if that's all right with y'all."
No? Of course.
Yes.
Well, as long as you're sure you can handle it.
And then we can have a reading from the Book of the Way.
I'm don't know what that is, but I'm a supply officer. I'm pretty good at handling things like this. And she makes her way back upstairs, and then kind of passing her way on the way down is the and it kind of turns some heads once people realize she's an elf. Is the tall, golden-haired Samriel, still dressed in her half plate, comes down, doesn't take any food, and kind of just deliberately sits a little too close, probably, than if she was trying to be separate from your group, but not directly with y'all, but sits on the bench near y'all. And then she takes out the notebook again, starts scribbling notes. Seems to be her main thing.
So I'm gonna wander down and I'm gonna pull out. I've got some small coin-sized, like very worn tokens. They're all. I'm gonna start going around the table and handing them to people in our group.
Okay, I was going to say in your group.
In our group.
All right, who do you hand it to first?
I'm
I think everyone in the group, other than the two NPCs, are now down in and Red, who's I guess still unconscious.
Right. Who's first? I guess we'll go down the list. Amelia is first.
All right, you hand this little token to Amelia. What does it look like?
It's just a small. I guess it would be whatever the cheapest coin denomination would be.
Probably 10. Like just a
Um,
polished, I guess not polished, 10 coin.
It would be basically be that, except instead of the usual, whatever stamp would be on it, it's got an image of my mask essentially
Okay.
stamped
And
on
then
it.
what's on the other side?
Nothing.
Like if she flips it over.
Just blank.
Okay.
So it's basically a blank coin with the stamp on one side.
Yeah, you get about how big around is it? Like quarter size penny, or is it like a
like maybe nickel sized?
nickel size? Okay, so pretty small.
Fairly small.
So yeah, Amelia, Bartolo walks up and hands you this little kind of nickel-sized single-faced coin. Looks to be probably made out of tin, although it's pretty worn down. And if you look closely, it looks like it's got a mark of his mask on it.
Cool.
Yeah, hold on to this. It's it'll help.
Okay, I say, and I put it into my porridge.
In your porridge?
No?
Okay, I just misheard you then.
No, I mean, no. Am I not supposed to do that?
I mean,
oh, that is what you said. Okay,
you could eat it, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know how healthy that is. Might cause problems.
This is like some custom thing, right? Like we eat the coins after a meal for wealth.
Well, in theory, you just kind of have it on your person, not in your person, but to each their own. I'm not going to stop you.
Oh, I take it out of my porridge and try to wipe it off somehow.
you now have a bit of porridge on your shirt.
Yeah. It'll wipe off too, eventually, someday.
Yeah, I use these to focus, so they'll help.
Cool.
Just hold on to it,
Cool.
and I'll continue around our table.
So you hand one. Yeah.
Did you want something for this?
No, these are cheap and easy to make. I have lots of them. But just hold on to it. If you lose it, let me know. I'll get you another one.
That's very kind of you. Thank you.
And you hand one to Nikiba as well.
Yep.
No. How much would this be worth? No matter. Material
a tenth
value
of a
is
copper
not
piece.
Much. It is not worth much to any member
really
of the
not.
way, be it 100 gold or a speck of dirt. And now, since we are all here for breakfast, I shall begin reading.
Wonderful.
Chapter 7.
Samuel kind of pats you on the shoulder real quick and says, before you start, you should hold the speaking stick, and she hands you a stick.
I am surprised she has one, but I am cautiously grateful of Samuel's intentions.
And I need you to roll a listen check once you start your sermon.
The 19.
19? Okay. You realize as you start speaking that she has taken the pointy bit of the javelin off, and you are holding the javelin of silence without the pointy bit. And no sound is coming out.
This is extremely rude. I shall put the javelin down, but take care of where it is.
Okay. And you continue on with your sermon. Samuel just kind of puts the hand close to you, just kind of on her eye like this, kind of ignoring you, and kind of shuffles away the other side. You get she's probably not a big fan of your book and your sermons. You can deduce without a roll she's probably a member of the Imperial faith.
I mean, I get this when I signed up for the whole deal and everything, somewhat unwillingly. But the least she can do is just take the bonus roll.
Anyone in the party that does willingly listen to his sermon takes about 10 minutes, and it's basically him talking about basically the way of being an aesthetic person, as in worldly possessions don't matter, you need to meditate, think like classical monks and stuff like that. That's basically what the sermon's about. Anyone that does listen, you don't have to agree, but anyone that does listen to her sermon for about 10 minutes will get the buff, which is a +4 to any skill check, I believe, if I remember correctly.
You better be happy.
At the end of your sermon, Samuel goes, but doesn't say anything, just kind of a deep sigh.
Oh.
And then a couple more minutes go by, and then you see Haruna come back down and says, I'm afraid Stephen's, he's not doing any worse, but he's probably not going to be walking for a couple of weeks. He's hurt pretty bad.
And what about Ren?
He's I mean, he's okay.
Are the rattle shakes too bad, or will he recover? in
He
time?
seems to not be shaking anymore, but he's turned a bit green.
Might be better to let him rest.
Yeah, I didn't try to wake him. I was afraid it might be contagious.
On that note, it might do Dandelion some good to have a friend who is always a horse. If someone is truly after us, I dare say I should try to stay two-legged should we run into them.
That seems like a wise decision.
Can we
Keep
buy
your
a horse?
voice down.
Oh, she didn't say that super loud.
Okay.
She knows where she is. but-
It probably would be a good idea to procure a horse or two.
Oh, 6 horses.
We still have a cart.
Horses can be the cart. Is
True.
that how you say it? A cart of horses?
Oh no, horses don't really like it when you compare them to inanimate objects. My brother
Oh.
Hanoto found that out the hard way.
Oh. Hmm. Don't think we can just walk out and ask for a horse, right?
No. Speaking as a supply officer, you pay for these things. I know you're supposedly a foreigner, but you do know what money is, right?
Yes, no, I meant like we can't just go around. Is there like a horse shop?
I don't believe any of us have ever been here. But there's probably a stable or at least a farmer that has a horse of some kind we might be able to barter for.
I go over to the barkeep and I say, is it a woman? It's a woman, right?
It does look like the woman from last night and early morning has gone back into the back, probably sleeping because she took the night shift. But there is what you're guessing is probably her husband, this kind of middle-aged man. He's got a scraggly, maybe 3 or 4 day beard, unkempt, kind of floppy, grayish blonde hair, and but he looks up. He's super skinny, but otherwise looks perfectly healthy. And he looks up and says, "Can I help you?"
Oh, my good fellow, I was just wondering, where would we be able to purchase a horse in this town?
uh, for what kind of duties? I know a couple farmers have plow horses probably for sale. Might be one of the mercenaries might have a corsair.
Oh, the former sounds appropriate. The horse we have pulling our cart is in desperate need of a companion to help him with that task.
Then I would try farmer Matthew Sheen. Curious folk. He's not from around here. He's from he's a foreigner. Odd name, but at least his father was a foreigner. But he raises plow horses, so he might have one. It's not quite the season for when he sells, but he might have one available.
Oh, your help is most appreciated.
Of course.
Okay, and I'll go back to the group and let them know about this. Well, the barkeep says that this Matthew Sheen fellow might be able to sell us one. It's interesting. I've never met a Matthew. Oh, I once met a Mark, and once a Matthias, but never a Matthew.
It's a pretty uncommon name around here, says Haruna.
Sounds normal to me.
Yeah, it sounds
Well-
perfectly normal to you, Amelia. It's like Matthew Sheen. I probably know 20 of those.
Yeah.
Around here, this is that a foreign name, perhaps?
Yes, the barkeep mentioned that his father was from, somewhere else.
So many people coming. Except that I'm not supposed to do anything about them, am I?
Haruna kind of looks at you, not quite sure what you meant, as does Samrael, but they don't really say anything. So, what do you all think we should be doing? I'm just a supply officer without, without any supplies, so I'm not sure of what use I am anymore. But I've got nowhere else to go for. At least now I'm with you. She kind of looks around all of you and raises her left arm and says, "Not that I might be much help."
Oh, I think we stick with our plan from yesterday and head out. Yeah.
Yes, what was that? Did we agree to go to the small one or the big one?
I believe it was
Small one, right? Go time? Or
I believe the consensus was 3-2 on Neth versus Gotan.
Right.
Y'all
Oh,
just
right,
y'all
right.
went here temporarily, basically to not get stuck in the middle of the wilderness with
Right.
two very injured people.
Yeah, I think shouldn't overstay our welcome here. They made it pretty clear they didn't want us. So
Well, why don't we take a look at the map?
fair enough.
Which I do have available. It should still be in info, I believe. Gotta scroll up a bit. Yeah, that one at the bottom is the one you can zoom in on a bit.
Map.
And those
Where's the
red
map?
dotted lines are the roads y'all were traveling on.
There we are. Okay.
Sorry,
see.
which map
I
are
see.
we looking at? I'm like trying to find the right one, but there are like.
Oh, it's the one in
fours.
info, and it's just the colorful one of the. It's the one I say bigger map, so you can zoom in a bit.
Oh, but so I assume the map we have has like cities and towns marked.
Yeah, I don't have. I actually do have one of those. It's on my computer, which I can't access right now. But
That's fine.
if you do zoom in on this map, though, it does have where Gotan is marked,
Mhm.
and y'all's original destination was right at the convergence of the red dotted line and the border of Neth, right under the
Okay.
F of Free March.
So is the dark kind of bold line a path, or do we backtrack?
So that dark bold line is a river.
Okay.
And then the red dotted lines are roads.
Oh, so we have to go like around.
Yeah, which is why y'all decided to go to Gotan first, because you'd be tracking through wilderness or
Right.
backtracking quite a ways.
Mm.
Here's an idea.
Now, those if you look
Yeah.
a bit closer, there is kind of gray dotted lines. Those are
Mhm.
like game trails and paths where you might not be able to get a wagon through, but you could probably take horses through.
Okay. Do people? I'm going to ask this in character.
Okay.
Do people travel by boat by any chance?
Are you asking the group
The group,
or okay?
the group, including our NPC companion.
Okay. There's a fair amount of ships in and out of the harbors of the biggest cities. She's looking at the map. I'm not sure how many go upriver though.
Yes, many of the powers are ambitious, but if you wanted to go upriver, your best bet would be a very, very strong rower.
I imagine. And that seems like the fastest way. I was curious if there's any trade that went that way, since it seems like that would be the easiest. Yes?
I don't know about this particular city and area, but most trade I know of goes down a river and then back up through trails. But it is possible you could find a place or a ship captain with enough strong oarsmen to row you up. Might cost a pretty penny, though.
Gotcha.
Perhaps.
Well, barring some miracle, I don't think that's really in our cards then. Wasn't really sure which way the river flowed. It sounds like it's going the wrong direction.
Out of character. If there's a sea, the river flows into it.
Mm.
So,
Um,
are the main trails like in our travels so far? Have we come across like a good number of patrols or like guards, or is it really just
So
kind of
along,
every man for themselves?
so in the free marches, the only guards in patrols you'd come across would probably be other caravans, other groups of people, because those are generally like 3 or 4 wagons of caravan trade and stuff. And it's pretty heavily guarded because it's a relatively lawless region. Once you get out of the free marches back into the actual other provinces, you see more regular patrols of actual guarded men and stuff like that. Other than that, around towns and any villages you went by, there might be like a village patrol, but they wouldn't go very far out. Maybe a quarter of a day's ride outside of the city at most would be their range, really. So in between villages and towns, you have fairly large tracts, even on the main road of. It's not actively plagued by bandits, but it's not actively guarded either.
Okay, and then for our supplies, is it like mostly food and stuff, or is a good amount of it like lumber,
So on
hammers,
the supply
nails.
wagon, you have 40 days rations for 10 people, as well as camping supplies and basic like fishing and hunting gear to supplement the rations. Like you got a
Okay.
couple tents, probably sleeping bags, stuff to start fires. You don't have like goods.
Okay.
This was mostly a caravan to get you somewhere.
Got it. Then, I know, Miss Haruna, I know you said Stephen wasn't in a position to walk, but
Oh yeah, he's got a hole right through his abdomen.
Ouch.
Yeah, you sealed it up pretty well with your she keeps her voice down. Your magic, but he's it still needs quite a bit of time to knit together inside.
do you think he could ride?
Well, he could probably sit in the back of a wagon. I wouldn't put him on a horse though. Maybe a stretcher between two mules, but we'd have to find them.
Well, does he want to keep going with us? I believe he said
He's just a hired guard, honestly. If we left him with a little bit of provisions and the means to get back or stay here, we could probably leave him. I wouldn't abandon him, but if we made sure he could fend for himself, he has no attachment other than the money he's been paid to guard the caravan, which no longer exists. The only ones here with an obligation to you are, well, Samriel over there, and not even me, although you're taking my wagon, so I'm going with you.
Oh, so we could just leave, is what you're saying.
I mean, you could, but if you're taking the wagon, I'm going with you.
Oh,
Well, the wagon would be good if we were to make this long trek, but, well, if we could procure... Well, perhaps we should speak to this Matthew Sheen before we make any hasty decisions.
Mhm.
If he has extra horses, we could trade some of the extra provisions for money for the horses and perhaps follow the stream.
I suppose that works. I'm more just sticking around because I have no purpose other than to be with you right now. I can't go back to the Imperial capital by myself, and I don't have the money to hire a group to take me back.
Sounds like we should just let's go talk to this farmer. Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be best as well. Oh, and it'll be lovely. We can meet his horses.
buy some local food. Whatever it is that farmers eat here.
Are you asking that in character or out of character?
I'm not so much asking as commenting. Like, we can also buy some
okay.
local food. Whatever it is that farmers eat here. They eat, right? This is one of those weird societies where it's run entirely by.
I'm fairly certain they eat.
Okay, just checking. I heard that there was this story I heard once about a nation of ghost farmers.
We can talk on the way. Let's talk on the way.
Ghost farmers, really?
Alright.
Like even by your standards,
Like,
that's
we're gonna go
imaginative.
find this Matthew Sheen.
Yeah, from talking to the barkeep, you can tell he lives probably about a mile northeast of town, or actually it would be northwest because northeast is in the river, and a mile northwest of town.
Okay.
Got a bit of a trek.
I mean,
Not a huge one, little one.
for medieval times, it's pretty normal.
Yeah.
It's like 15, 20 minutes. But yeah, you take the trek, and you do walk up in this. You see a large red barn. Looks actually to be fresh painted, but next to it is a not quite dilapidated, but not quite brand new and shiny like the barn. Kind of old farmhouse. It's got a faded white walls look to be in need of another fresh coat of paint. But you see a couple pigs in a little pen, and a couple to y'all's untrained eyes look to be rather large horses, kind of brown and white speckles all over them, kind of blotchy paint, and they're just kind of grazing in a pasture out front. You don't see anyone around. I mean, it doesn't seem abnormal to not see anyone, but there's no one immediately obviously there.
Would you say that the pigs are very large?
They look to be, so it's autumn right now, which would mean that pigs are probably about ready to be slaughtered. So they're pretty big.
Thinking, if we can't buy a horse, maybe we could buy a pig and get it to pull the wagon.
I would love to know how Amelia's brain works.
I mean, horses have 4 legs.
Truly a thing of wonder.
Horses have 4 legs. Pigs have 4 legs. So, cognito.
Maybe we can just get 2 people to pull the cart along. Why
No,
don't
then
we?
you have to stitch them together. It's not hygienic.
This whole time, Samriel is just like, she has like furrowed eyebrows. She's just like staring at Amelia and like frantically writing notes in her notebook.
That's probably fine.
I want to see this notebook at some point, out of character.
I am literally writing it right now. The notebook is a in character plot device for me to keep notes on the session.
Okay.
I have a bad feeling about this, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Is there? You said there's like a farmhouse.
Yeah, next to a barn, you can kind of hear what sounds to probably be either the banging of nails and kind of sawing near the barn. So they're probably working there. You don't see anybody. I mean, you haven't walked up and knocked on the door, but you don't see anybody obviously apparent at the farmhouse itself.
I'll go knock on the door.
Sorry, I was finishing a sentence. Okay. Yes, 1 minute. You wait about 30 seconds, and then you look down, and there's this like probably 4 or 5 year old, heavily freckled and suntanned child. Kind of looks up at you. Looks to be 4 or 5 years old. Has kind of dirty blonde hair tied up into twin pigtails, and she's wearing a straw hat. And she goes, "Hi!" And she looks like she's missing a couple of her front teeth.
I like kind of get on my, at knee level so that I can look at her directly, and I say, "Hello. Is your father here?"
He's at the barn. Do you want me to go get him?
Oh. Are you sure that's all right? Is no one else here with you?
I mean, my dad's here with me, and my brother and my mom, they're at the barn.
Oh. Well, then I would.
I'm watching the pigs, and she kind of stands with both arms on her hips and like gives you a big grin and goes,
"My, what an important duty! Pigs can be troublesome. They can. A real snarky streak to them. But please, if you would introduce me to your family, I'd be so very happy."
"Okay, I'll go get him." And you can tell she's not being rude. She's just young. She slams the door in your face, and you hear the sound of feet kind of running away. And then about 30 seconds later, you hear the back door of the farmhouse kind of burst open, and then you see the little figure of the kid running towards the barn and goes, "Dad, you have a visitor!" And then a couple of minutes later, you see this kind of older man, probably in his late 40s, early 50s, kind of pepper gray hair, and then he's got the kid on his shoulders, and he walks around the pig pen, not going through the house. Says, "Hello, strangers. How can I help you? I have a license to live here. He's looking at everyone's attire and basically seeing everyone but Amelia is dressed as dressed very not foreign, but to him probably very foreign. He's like, I have a license from the local magistrate.
Oh no, we're not here for legal purposes.
Oh, and you see his slight frown go, big grin, and he's like, hey, how can I help you?
Well, actually, we came into town because we ended up one horse short of the two we need to pull our cart. We stopped by to see if you might have any for sale.
Horses, you say? Well, I generally sell horses when they're 3 years old. My last batch, I sell them during the summer usually to get ready for autumn plowing. Did you say a cart horse is what we need? I generally sell plow horses, but I do have a 2-year-old mare that's not quite old enough to start plowing, so she might meet your needs as a cart horse.
Oh, well, I would love to meet her.
Right this way, please. And he kind of leads you to the side of the house, and there's a couple horses just in the pasture, and he goes picks up what length of rope, ties it into a lasso, and he kind of walks over and kind of slowly loops it around one and kind of pulls it over and says, "This right here. Well, I actually haven't named her yet. We name them when they're 3, when they're first sold. We usually let the owner name them. So this one right here, if you purchase her, is whatever you call her."
Oh, I see.
And she's this kind of buttermilk-colored white splotches interspersed with kind of a brown pattern covering the rest of her, and then she's got a black mane and a black tail.
Oh, I kind of pretend to be looking over her, but I also is he looking right at me?
I mean, he's not staring you down, but you're the one that's been talking to him, so he's looking at you.
Is anyone else here? Did anyone else come to see the horse?
I assume everyone at least went to the farmhouse, so someone's close.
Yeah.
If you need to call someone.
Oh, everyone, I believe Mr. Matthew might have an answer to our problem.
Let me guess. It is a horse. A horse can not only solve math, but fix our cart.
Did you say a horse can solve math?
I don't know.
The second one, yes.
If you guys come talk to Matthew, I will talk to the horse. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, what are
Hello,
we?
do you have a cart pig?
I like your mask. Why are you wearing it? It's the kid on his shoulder.
Well, let me tell you all about.
While you're doing that, I cast Speak with Animals.
Okay. Bartolo, go ahead and give me a diplomacy check to keep the little girl entertained. This is not a hard DC since it is a 4-year-old. Go ahead and cast a sleight of hand with a +10 since they're distracted to hide your spellcast.
What do I have to do? Sorry.
Roll me a sleight of hand with a +10 to hide your spellcast.
Okay.
It was a 15 diplomacy.
15.
I rolled a 26.
Well, you bowl away the DC 10 to keep a 4-year-old entertained.
Great.
What was that? Sorry,
to the dark side.
Sarah, I didn't hear you.
I had a 26.
26? Okay, yeah, you just lean over and just, all right, you're fine. You can talk to horses for the next hour.
Okay. Hello.
Oh, hi.
Well, it's so lovely to meet you. Do you like it here?
It's okay. They have nice apples. Wow, you have 2 legs and you can talk.
Yes. Although sometimes I have 4. Oh, and sometimes I grow the most magnificent wings. I also have a friend named Dandelion that I think you'd like to meet.
I like dandelions. They're tasty.
Yes, he's quite sweet to talk to as well.
You
How
can
would
talk
you like
to
to go on-
dandelions?
Oh, no. Dandelion is a horse, my friend.
Oh!
Like you. Although I hear you don't have a name yet. What would you like to be named?
You can tell the horse doesn't know what to do with this information. It's kind of information overload.
Well,
Her intelligence of 2 is kind of...
is there anything you really, really like more than anything in the world?
I like apples.
Oh, would you like to be named Apple?
Sure.
Oh, splendid. Well, to be honest, I suppose it wouldn't be quite accurate to say that you're just visiting Dandelion. If all goes well, I'm hoping you two can be very, very long friends.
Okay. I like that.
Oh,
I like
splendid.
friends.
Also, my friend wants to know, how good are you at arithmetic?
The what's the what?
Oh, fret you not. A horse has no need for such things. And I give Apple a pat on the nose. And I go back to the group and I say, your horse seems lovely. How much would you like for her?
I normally charge about 100 silver pieces for a good horse like this. She's a bit young, so I can't quite tell you how she'll turn out as a plow horse. So I can knock off probably 20 there, especially since I won't have to feed her for another year.
What's the Fenmida silver?
So it is 100 silver is 1 Fenmai.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same 10 whatevers to the next tier, except that gold pieces is cut out. So there's there's 10 copper, silver, and then no gold, and then Fenmai.
Okay.
Just because there's no gold deposits in this area.
Okay, and then for the
Fenmai is basically platinum. Sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. For the trail, did the map mark that as like a pretty lush, verdant area, or was it more like?
So the map hasn't really marked vegetation, but from what you've seen, this is a pretty... I mean, you know Neth because you were headed there, so you've just talked to people and overheard things. Neth is, it's not like verdant, but it's a fairly heavily forested area, probably like Germany's Black Forest. So it's like that. It's very densely forested, not so much farmland. But you've seen around here, there's a fair amount of farmland and deciduous trees, kind of temperate forests. So the path there shouldn't be like, if you just need a horse to eat grass along the way, is if that's what you're asking, shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, sweet. In that case, I ask Matthew if he happens to have like any like medicine for like wounds or something. One of our fellow companions ran into a bit of a rough spot.
Oh, what's wrong with him? I have some ointments we use for rashes now and then, and...
Oh. No. I'm afraid his problems are a bit more severe. Well, that's all right.
There's the town surgeon. Does he need... is it life-threatening?
Oh. Who is this surgeon?
I believe her name... No, that's his wife. I can't remember his name. I've never had to go to him, but his wife's name is Arisu.
Oh.
I'm not great with the local names. I don't know if you can tell, but my family is foreign here.
Well, thank you for the information.
But I believe they live in I believe they live in town, not too far from the main gate, the main open way. They don't have a gate here. It's kind of weird.
Okay.
If you remember, they have a drawbridge in like an area where you could put a gate, but since they have that moat, they don't really have a gate.
Yeah. I will pull out one Fen Mai and say,
Oh, wow.
I'm afraid I don't really have anything smaller.
That would be plenty. I'll furnish. You said it was for plowing or for a cart horse, but I can also furnish you with a saddle. I can't give you any change for this. I'm afraid.
A saddle would do nicely, thank you.
Of course. And he kind of takes the Finn Mai and he like runs back to the house real quick. I mean, a Finn Mai is probably a little over a year's worth of wages for him, so it's like,
Yeah.
It is the price of a horse that he asked
yeah. I
for,
don't know
at
if you've
least,
ever
though,
bought
right?
a horse though. Like in real life terms, a horse is like $3,000, so it's still a lot of
Yeah.
money.
That's a cheap horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're just getting a horse to pull a plow, it's $3,000. And if you get a nice horse, it's way higher. So this is still like a Finmai is still a fair amount of money. He's like, well, okay. But he comes back a couple minutes with the saddle. Actually, he's not carrying the saddle. He's carrying what looks to be a feed bag. And then behind him, you see two little legs coming down from a saddle, following him behind. It looks like his daughter's probably hoisting it above her head. And he says, here's a week's worth of feed. And he picks it up from his daughter. And the saddle, he puts the saddle on Apple, although he doesn't know it's Apple, of course. And kind of saddles Apple up and then lays the feed bag over the saddle and says, all right. And he holds out his hand for a handshake, which among here, if you're not a foreigner, is probably, you know what it is, but it's not common. But he holds his hand out for a handshake.
Yeah, I shake his hand and I say, pleasure doing business with you.
Likewise, thank you. This was a pleasant surprise. I did not expect to sell one so late in autumn.
Well, in any case, we should go introduce Apple to Dandelion. Oh, that's our other horse. So we'd best get a move on. Oh, by the way, those grasses over there, and I kind of point next to a tree. You may want to be cautious. Some ants seem to be causing some trouble.
Oh,
have a lovely day.
Thank you. You're very perceptive.
Ants?
Ants, little bugs.
Ooh.
You have a little RPG noise. Da 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 da. You have acquired Apple.
Yay!
How long?
Another member of the party.
Apple joins your party.
Congratulations, you don't have to use a spell slot to pull our cart anymore.
Or a wild shape slot, even.
How long would I have been conversing / entertaining with the young one?
10 or so minutes.
No, not quite enough time. Okay.
Actually, no, I take that back. Since he went to get the saddle and stuff like that, probably closer to 20. She was talking to the horse as well.
I'd be teaching the young one the art of skimming off the top.
Okay, roll a.
Using grains of wheat as an example.
Okay, roll a. Let's do diplomacy again. I don't know a better roll here. There's not a roll economics.
23.
Well, actually, no. Actually, roll a bluff check probably is better than diplomacy.
-6 off of that.
So what was it?
23 minus 18. Or -6, sorry.
I was about to say, that's bad.
23 minus
18?
6 is
you are
17.
pretty sure you're making a burgeoning economic powerhouse.
Wonderful.
As this little girl seems to have grasped the concept pretty rapidly.
Perfect. All I wanted.
Right. Well, I propose we take Apple to meet Dandelion straight away. Oh, and we can get Stephen while we're at it and find this Arisu.
That works for me.
The man mentioned having some ointment for rash, yeah?
Oh, that was Matthew said he had some. Why? And Myron looks at you.
Could I
and
have
says,
some? I just want to study it.
Are you asking me or Matthew?
Matthew, actually, could you just throw in a bit of
Oh,
ointment?
he was walking back to the house. He turns around and says, "Sorry, what?"
Could you throw in a bit of ointment?
It looks like he's about to say why, but then he remembers he just got a Finmai, and he's like, "Sure." And he walks in the house, and then a couple
Ointment!
minutes back, he pulls out a little. He walks back. He pulls out a little what looks to be a little container of ointment. He's like, "I've got a couple of these, so this one's for you."
Yes, thank you.
Of course.
A lot of things with
Is
ointment.
there? He kind of wrings his hands. Is there anything else? I do need to get back to the barn.
No, I'm good. I think.
Okay. Thank you all again. He gives a little like half bow and starts walking back towards the barn. And the little kid turns around and says, "Bye, horse lady."
Theodore waves back.
Oh, if only he knew. She knew, I mean.
Okay, and I will start leading Apple back towards the town.
All right. Apple seems pretty happy to go along with you, especially since for the next 30 or so minutes you can still talk to her.
Yes. Oh, it'll be fantastic. Well, we usually camp outside. Oh, but I can make these lovely fruits. I'm sure you'll like them very much. They're quite
Oh, wow.
tasty. Everyone
I love
I've talked
fruit.
to likes
I've only
them, at
tried
least.
apples, though.
What's the rest of us hearing?
You're basically hearing Ame, almost said Ami. You're hearing Myron basically talking, like you can hear what she says, but then you hear the horse basically giving like back grunts or whinnies or like at regular intervals. So it's like if you were talking to a barking dog, but
Oh,
instead of like barking back, you were just having a conversation, and the dog's going.
Yeah, I'll like stop talking once we get like
Oh my
actually in
God.
the town. But
Yeah, I mean it would look a little weird, but yeah, you go back to town. You say you're going back to the inn.
Yes.
Okay.
They can meet each other, and we can start hitching them up to the cart.
You make it back in another 15-20 minutes.
Oh, good. Oh, once I get there, I kind of lower my voice when I say, "Dandelion, good news. We found a friend who can stay a horse the whole time. This is
Kind of looks up
Apple."
and says, "Oh wow, it's a horse."
It's the horse.
You guys gotta realize a horse has an intelligence of 2.
I know. Myron's
I'm talking more to the reactions I can see from Gur and Emil.
Yes. Well, we'll have you two wait here for just a bit. One of our friends isn't feeling well, I'm afraid, so we're hoping to stop by the doctor's before we head on out of town and hit the road.
That's not good. What's a doctor?
Oh, well, was there ever a time? Wait, shit. Who was his owner again?
Who? Dandelion? You have no idea. One of the guard guys.
Parna told me. But
Thomas the guard. Yeah, Thomas.
Well, was there ever a point when you got hurt and Thomas ended up bringing someone to make you feel better?
He cleaned my hoof once. It had a stone stuck in it.
Yes, that would be like a doctor.
Oh, cool.
Are you sure they don't just make horseshoes?
In this day and age, not all horses are going to be wearing horseshoes. If you're a noble, you probably got shoed horses, but solid iron is pretty rare.
All right. And with that, I will then tie Apple to one of the posts.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Apple and Dandelion start getting acquainted. You hear the first couple snippets of conversation, and the spell fades as it's been an hour.
Okay.
I'll go up and grab Stephen. Put him in the wagon, and you go ahead and find out where this surgeon is. She says to all of y'all, and then Haruna kind of enters the inn and starts walking upstairs. Oh, and she sticks ahead. Oh, it's
Right.
about an hour until noon, so if you left anything in your rooms, you should grab it, because I'm not paying for another night.
Fair.
I think I should have everything already.
I think most of y'all, I think all of you grabbed it all, unless you specifically left something there.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Is there anybody like out and about?
I mean, there's a couple people walking somewhere. There's not. It's not really a bustling city, but I mean, there are a couple people you could walk up to.
Okay. I pick one and I walk up to them and I say, excuse me.
Yes, little lady. How can I help you? Is this rather tall, muscular half-orc? He's kind of pale, grayish green skin. Doesn't have any hair at all. He's completely bald, and he's got some kind of tusks protruding. And he looks down on you. He's standing about 8 feet tall, which is pretty tall even for a half-orc. And he says, "How can I help you, little lady?"
I give him like a little half bow, and then I crane my neck and
and he bows back.
I'm so sorry to trouble you, but we heard that there was a surgeon in the village. Might you know who and where he is?
Surgeon? I don't know if he does surgery, but there's a doctor here. He's down that way. He points down off an alley, and he's like, down that way about half a mile, and then you turn left, walk about quarter mile, and it'll be on your right.
Oh, splendid. Well, thank you.
Yes.
And
Is there anything else? And he kind of scratches his bald head.
I suppose not.
All right. Have a good day. He gives
May
another
the
half
stag
bow.
god guide your footsteps. And
Do what?
I said, may the stag god guide your footsteps, and then I go back to tell the group.
All right. So we got our cart problem solved. All that we need to do is start going on our way, right? Make sure we have Ren and Stephen in our care.
We wanted to find a surgeon.
Oh yes, we did get Ren out of his room, right? Or perhaps
No one
Aruna
has
did?
moved red.
All right, let's make sure he gets out. So
Put him in the back of the car.
Aruna doesn't pay again.
So whoever goes up and carries Ren down, go ahead and roll me a spot check.
I mean, I can't carry anyone.
I'm not kidding. I got some.
I'll do it.
I mean, two of you physically can't unless you cast Antall on yourself.
Oh, H strength, whatever, same difference.
All right, so go ahead and roll spot for me.
Yeah, I rolled a 6.
All right. Even with your 6, you can tell that Ren is not there.
What? Okay, so I'm gonna start looking for him
roll
then.
a search.
What just happened?
16.
Right, with 16, actually, your deduction skills, you can see that it looks like the window was kicked open and then out from within, and then hastily closed behind, and you see a couple of the tiles, because it's kind of using wooden slats, not quite shingles, but like kind of a precursor, are slightly askew as if someone had stepped on them and run across the roof.
All right, so we can see that there's some kind of forced
exit.
Forced exit. Was it? Is there any of Ren's stuff still left behind?
It looks like his cot is still there, and it looks like his pack is gone, but his sword belt, his spyglass, and his bedroll is still there.
All right, so I highly doubt Ren would leave those behind. But why would anyone kidnap him? Unless it was those. Okay, that's a dumb question because people try to assassinate all of us. I'm gonna go find everyone else.
I mean, everyone else, unless they're hiding, is still at the bottom of, of the
Yep.
inn.
Ren's gone. That's all I say. Ren's gone.
And for everyone, just to remind y'all have known Ren, probably not as friends, but for at least a week. Some of you as long as 2 months. Up to you how long, but y'all have basically been in the back of the wagon. So you probably haven't interacted a whole lot because he's been sickly most of the way. But you do know who this is, and you know that he was at least nominally supposed to be part of your group. He has the same writ from the Emperor that y'all do.
Ooh. That means he's guilty.
He's guilty.
Barmaid.
The same wiry guy sticks his head out.
Bartender.
I'm no maid, but I'm here. What you need?
Did you hear anything? Did you see Ren? Just a sickly
He
looking
kind of
fellow.
waves his hand out to like the half full bar. He's like, I hear everything. I'm a bartender. That's what I do.
Wonderful. Did you see a sickly person by any chance, or hear someone walking
The
around
one you
on the
dragged
roof?
in last night, yeah, but that was
That
last
one.
night.
Not this morning.
Oh, you saying he ran away from you? That sucks.
Well, he's not up there.
He left some of his things behind, and I highly doubt
You
he
better
would.
take him with you because in he looks at the sky. Half an hour or so, it's my things. Unless
So
you
you
want to
did-
pay for another night.
You didn't hear anyone running across the roof.
Why the hell would someone be running across my roof?
Well, that's what I'd like to know.
He kind of scratches his head. He's like, nope, didn't hear any running across my roof. You better not be up there either. He kind of points his
I'd
finger at you.
prefer not to be.
Me too.
Can we check if he's up there? Can we try to find some trail? I mean, running on roofs should be pretty obvious, yeah? Ren is in some trained.
Wait, this is a 2-story building, and it's in the middle of an inn. I don't know if you've ever been to a bar, but imagine going to a bar and trying to hear someone running on the roof.
Mhm.
You probably didn't hear anything.
Yeah. We should investigate.
So are you paying for another? Are you gonna get his things? Or are you paying? You got about 20 minutes now.
We'll get his things.
All
We'll get
right.
his things.
No hard feelings, but I gotta make a living.
Yeah, we can get these things. Just
And there's people here, right?
I mean, it's not like packed. It's in the middle of the day. But I mean, there's a couple people look to be grabbing lunch there. There's a couple people sitting at the bar.
could
There's
Amelia
a-
take a look around the room? Poke
Yeah,
around
there's
a
a,
bit.
there's a what looks to be probably a family of halflings sitting at one of the booths y'all were occupying last night.
Oh, I mean the room that
There's-
Ren was
Oh,
in.
that Ren was in. Yeah, you can make a search check as well.
Yeah, yeah, awesome.
And then who was he was rooming with someone, right?
Yes, I forgot who.
He was rooming with Steven. And
He was rooming with
Haruna.
Steven.
Hmm.
So yeah, but
Oh,
Steven,
where's
Steven was
Steven?
already. Steven is in the back of the wagon.
Oh, so we do have him. Okay.
Yes.
Ooh, well, hi, 30 as a result.
30. You notice actually that there seems to be at the corner of the windowsill that has been kicked open. There seems to be a kind of this brown viscous substance. You're not quite sure what it is, but it looks kind of like
Viscous.
imagine melted caramel mixed with a little bit of brown sugar. That's the kind of texture it is, except that neither brown sugar nor caramel is common at all in this area. Those would both be considered vast delicacies. So you may have seen caramel before, but probably not. But that's what it looks like, is like melted kind of semi-viscous caramel with like the texture of brown sugar.
I see.
And it's probably about the size of 2 of your thumbs together, but it's kind of pooled there at the corner of one of them, and it's kind of dripping down the wall now. But otherwise, you just realize the exact same things that the other search check showed for Nikiba, which is that someone had kicked the windowsill open and that some of his stuff was gone, but not all of it.
All right. Can I go over and just like poke around this stuff? Like try to figure
With
out
your
what it
finger?
is, maybe? Yeah, why
Like with your
not?
finger, or like pulling out a dagger? Like, what are you doing?
Take out a dagger first, like cut
Okay.
the piece off, get, and then with my fingers,
It's
because
it's
I'm
kind
an
of
idiot.
sticky, so you can't really like cut a piece off, but you can scrape. If you scrape it a little bit, you can get a little bit on the pointed into your dagger.
Okay, yeah, I'll try that.
Okay, you do it. You have a dagger with some brown substance on the tip.
Take a sniff. Start patting on my belt. Pull out some like bit of I'm not sure what's the word for this. Like a bit like I assume there's like alchemist like kind of test kit thing I could try to use to figure out what this substance
Oh,
might be.
like a beaker or something.
Yeah. Like put a bit of it
A
in like
glass beaker or something. Okay.
Yeah.
A test tube maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. And you like scrape it inside.
yeah, scrape it inside.
Okay.
Try to figure out what
You
the
have
heck
a
stuff is.
you have a beaker with a little bit, probably a half inch of whatever this brown substance is in it.
Hmm. I what does it smell like? Does it smell like anything in particular, or like?
It smells like. Have you ever grounded up roots like of a plant, like if you're cooking or anything, like kind of fresh roots?
Ah, okay, interesting.
So it's got this
I
earthy smell that it's not. It's not like dirt, but it's kind of like this earthy smell kind of behind it, kind of like ginger mixed with a little bit of mud and grass
very
all in one.
curious. Very curious. I'm going to. How does one analyze alchemical compounds? Is there like a?
Well, do you have craft alchemy?
I do have craft alchemy.
You would roll me a craft alchemy check.
Yes, that's what I will attempt. Oh boy.
Which you can only do trained. So if you didn't have it, you would do
I
exactly what
rolled
you're
a
doing now, which is
one.
smell it, look at it, hope taste it.
I rolled a one.
Oh, you rolled
It's
a
gonna be
nat one?
that one. Yes.
Okay. You're pretty
What have I
sure.
done? Mhm.
You're pretty sure it's cake topping. It's some kind of
Delicious.
sugar that people use for cake topping. You're not sure why it's in this room, but it's some kind of pastry filling or something like that.
Yeah, guys. Some evil master cake man came and took Ren. I think that's what this seems to me. I mean I think this is cake. Click.
Well, I could use my spiritual powers to locate an object, but using that power to discern where the location of a cake is doesn't seem the best use of that ability.
How long has Steven
it might
been on
not
the
be
cart?
cake. It could be other things.
Steven's been on the cart probably about 10 minutes before you went up to go get Ren.
I'm gonna go out to Steven
Okay.
once these guys are done.
I mean, he's laying in the back. He's still pretty pale. He's awake and alert, but he doesn't look great. He's still kind of clutching. There's a slightly bloody bandage, like it, not like it's gushing blood still, because it's been the target of a heal check, but kind of just like it's a day or two old wound that's been nicely patched up, but it's still leaking a little bit of blood while it heals.
I'm gonna get up on the cart and right up to his face. Give him a couple slaps on the cheek. Make sure he's conscious.
What?
Hey,
what?
hey,
What do you want, you little masked devil?
You heard anything while you're in that room?
I've been asleep almost all day. I've got a fucking stab wound in my chest.
Well, somebody kicked the window open in your room. Did you wake up for that?
No.
Is he bluffing somehow?
You can roll a sense motive.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
We have 16.
This guy looks like he's just been slapped awake while he has a gaping chest wound, and he's kind of mad.
Okay.
But he doesn't look like he's lying.
All right,
I'm
go
gonna
back to sleep.
find Samuel.
Fuck her off. You said you find Samrail? She is
Yeah,
standing
I'm
right
gonna go
next to
find
you.
Sam. Yes, well, I just wanted to ask: do we really need this guy to come with us, or can we just leave?
Are you talking about Ren?
Yes, I am.
You don't need anything to go with you as long as you fulfill your duty. If he breaks his own writ, that's not going to break yours.
Good, good.
He's a sick man, right? How did he even like? This feels like a cause for concern.
You said
Someone
there
is
was
up.
like
Yes.
scuffed tiles on the roof or something?
Basically, they're wooden tiles. Basically, in the case of modern shingles, and it just looks like it's someone's run across them. Like they're kind of slightly out of place and stuff. Like if you ran across shingles, you'd probably knock a couple askew.
Yeah, so if I go to like where if I go in the direction that they were running, obviously without climbing up on I assume I'd just ask someone which way they went, and then I go to the other side of the building. Do I see anything weird there if I do a search check?
Yeah, you can roll me search.
Also, Amelia would offer what she thinks is cake topping to the rest of the party.
12.
12. You don't really see anything. There's just a couple other houses and businesses around, all 2 stories. It is a little weird that the closest building he'd have to jump across the street to land on in that direction. But other than that, I mean, it's a jump you could make. It would just be a pretty long one.
Does
All
the
right.
cake topping look like anything I would have come across in the underworld scene?
The underworld scene. Do you have what are your knowledge skills and or profession skills?
Be knowledge, local, and profession baker.
Okay. Actually, roll me a profession baker.
All right.
Oh my god.
In the meantime, did Ren have anything distinctive on
His
him
spyglass,
that
which
would
is
have been
still in the
taken?
room, was the most distinctive thing about him, as well as a tricorn hat.
All
which
right.
is not
Well,
in
in the
his room.
meantime, I'll try a locate object on the tricorn hat.
Okay. What was your knowledge bakery or profession bakery?
Knowledge or profession baker is 16.
Okay, this is not cake topping. You don't know what it is, but it's not cake topping.
Hey, this isn't
Shocking.
cake topping. What?
What?
Are you? Did you eat anything funny?
It tastes like cake topping. I says Amelia. She takes a lick.
All right. Amelia, go ahead and roll me a fortitude. Meanwhile,
Oh boy.
what were you doing, Nikiva? You were casting locate object, right? Nibble?
Right. Jeez,
Oh,
forgot the whole
geez.
Nikiva. Okay, yeah.
13.
You'll get it eventually. It'll be like session 6. So you cast locate object. Is there? I don't think there's a roll required for that. Is there? You just cast it, right? If it's within.
I have it pulled up. If it's within 400 feet plus 40 per feet per level.
Okay. What spell level are you casting it at?
I am casting it at spell level 2.
So you're using a second level spot. All right. So
Yes.
within 480 feet, you don't. The tricorn is not within 480 feet.
All right. Well, I'll relay that information to the party. I tried searching with my magical divination. No, spiritual divination.
For you, it is spiritual,
for
yes.
Ren's tricorn hat, but it's not close enough for me to discern it. If any of you have stronger scrying
What is the
powers-
duration on that, by the way? Is it instantaneous or?
1 minute
Okay,
per
that's
level.
fine.
How about you all go talk to the doctor and perhaps get him to take a look at Steven. I have a trick I can try.
Okay. And Amelia, what did you roll in your fortitude? Wool, you there?
I rolled 13.
Okay. Awesome. I will get back to you later.
Oh dear God.
You
Dun,
just need to know you
dun.
failed. You
Yeah,
failed a fortitude
Oh, no.
check. You don't know what it does yet.
Wait, can't he add 4 to that because he listened to the way?
You can choose to
Uh-huh.
add 4 to that roll.
I'm trying to decide if I want to, because I
You
feel
do
like
not know if it will or will not affect the results. I'm just saying you can choose to add 4 to that roll.
This is a spiritual thing, so it can work unconsciously. You do not
I feel
need
like
to
finding
know.
out what happens here would be more entertaining. So
Okay,
no,
so
I'm gonna fail.
Amelia has a very questionable spiritual presence and does not respond well to the Book of the Way.
Hey, it's within 24 hours.
I'll be fine, guys.
You can use it on the next one.
I'm an alchemist. I totally know what this is. It's cake batter.
You've been told by a
it's not
trained
cake
baker
batter.
it is not a cake batter.
I mean, it's not cake batter here.
Maybe Amelia
I'm not
knows better
from
than a
here.
baker.
All right. But let's go ahead and use this time. We'll take a 5-minute break if anyone needs to do restroom, get some water, stuff like that, and then we will go along with going to the surgeon and then Myron doing whatever her plan was to find Ren.
Seems fine.
All right.
Ready to go as well? All right, Barry. All right, who wants to see the doctor first? Because we are splitting the party, apparently. Which is okay on a session-by-session basis, but if you'll try to do it in the campaign, that's not going to happen.
I'm only doing it because my thing takes an hour anyways, which I presume is
okay.
how long it'll take to get them.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we'll be doing
We'll
the doctor
do the doctor
thing
then.
first.
All right. Myron has told y'all before she leaves y'all where the doctor is. It's about a 15-minute wagon ride away from y'all.
Fine.
But you find the place out front. It says Take's Infirmary.
So we're going to be carting Ren or Stefan in. And it's like, hello, I heard that you were a good doctor and our good friend needs some assistance.
You just walk in the door and start saying that?
Well, I'll knock
Okay,
first,
I
see
was
what's
about to
going
say.
on, but
a small lady, probably about 4 feet tall, has a kind of very bright yellow eyes with kind of sideways square pupils, and then has scales on her arms that run the shade of kind of iridescent green to a light blue, and then she has this tail, and then her mouth is full of this kind of sharp rows of teeth. If you have ever seen one, actually roll me a knowledge local when you see this lady. That's for you, Emil.
no. 12.
Okay, this is a female lizard folk. They're relatively uncommon in the civilized areas of this area, but since we're out in the free marches, it's not unsurprising to see one. It is kind of unsurprising to see one in the middle of a city or town, but they are known to be intelligent creatures.
I see, but you did say...
Hello, are you here for Take's Infirmary?
Yes, I am. I am in...
let me go get him.
We are in desperate need of assistance. And well, I mean, not super desperate, but it would be highly appreciated.
Can you wait 5 minutes? He's finishing up with a patient.
Oh, well, yes. I don't think Stefan here is going to die in 5 minutes. Are you? No, you look fine.
He kind of groans.
Did I ever mention that Nikiva also did a bit of comedy acting? And
In your backstory, you did.
okay, good.
But about 5 minutes later, you see this morbidly obese man with a top knot tied up and wearing some robes. Walk out into the little atriums. He turns around and bows to a figure you've yet to see and says, "My thank you, Takedomo." And then he turns around and walks out and he says, "Excuse me," as his girth is taking up the whole of the front, and he basically pushes you aside as he walks out, and then walks down the road. And then
Well,
the
I
little
guess
lizard
I will
folk
have to
lady
step out of the
kind
way.
of pokes her head out and says, "Take, we'll see you now."
Thank you. And just to ask, do like the lizard folk have like skin on them as well as the scales, or
They're
only
basically
scales?
just scale. I mean, they have like soft underbellies, kind of like a crocodile, for like
Okay.
there and like on the undersides of their arms and tail. But for the most part, they're just completely scaled. I mean, she's wearing clothes, but the exposed parts of skin that you can see is mostly scaled.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if they were like all raw from Final Fantasy.
No,
or not, but I get it now.
they're like kobolds, but tall and not stupid.
4 feet tall. Okay, sure.
They're like 4
I will
foot
go
tall
and see
kobolds.
Taki. I will go and say Take.
Yes.
Yep. And then you see another lizard folk. This one with kind of reddish skin, and he stands about 5 feet tall, so not much shorter than you. But this guy, he has these kind of growths that are probably some kind of whisker or some kind, but they've been fashioned into to look like a slightly curled mustache. And he looks up at you. He has these little round spectacles. And he says, "Hello, I am Take. Are you in need of a surgeon?"
Well, yes, I am hoping for assistance to deal with my compatriot here, and I will help bring Stefan in.
It's going to take 2 to carry you. Who else is carrying Stefan?
I can just use ant haul.
Oh, I
But
mean, yeah, I
I
there's no one else here.
meant more because of his injury.
Right, fair enough. Do I have any assistance?
Like, you don't
I mean,
need it
you know
for weight. You just need it to, like, because he's been stabbed through the chest. So
Yes,
you
I know.
kinda-
Like
yeah.
vigorous movements and like fireman
Yeah,
is not in
exactly.
his best interest.
Exactly.
Amelia really wants to see the inside of the clinic, so she'll volunteer to help.
Okay, so you help Nikiva carry Steven in, not Stefan, although you've called him Stefan, so that's what the doctor thinks. It's like, yes. What caused this injury to this gentleman? Here, let's take him here. And he clears off a table and says, set him down here. And he looks at both of you and says, what caused this injury? As he starts to unwrap the bandage around his chest.
A javelin.
A javelin?
Yes.
This man was stabbed in the chest by a javelin?
Yes.
My goodness, the roads must be getting tougher.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's very
he kind of
aggressive.
unwraps it and he says, well, this has already been sealed closed. This is fine work, but I cannot see a stitch in sight. How did you heal this man?
We had a potion for emergencies.
You had a potion? Wow. Must be quite the extravagant caravan. I'm surprised we did not hear of your arrival. And he kind of adjusts his spectacles and looks closely. He says, yes, this will do nicely. I can reopen the wound surgically, of course, and suture it shut from the inside. Should put him well on the way of recovery. He will have to stay here for about a week. He shouldn't be moved further. Could cause internal bleeding. Is that okay?
Is that okay? I think it's. Did we have permission to leave people in this village?
I think we do.
So okay, a little out of character. Your writs, are a personal, you have to do this. You have
No,
no
no, no, no.
obligation out of character. You do, but in character, you have no obligation to stick with the group or technically to even, as a group, you don't even have to try to accomplish the task. You could just be like, all right, now we're pirates. It's just
No,
you've been given a writ right now that you're not dead.
not the writ. I don't care about the writ. It's the crazy captain lady who has the sword,
Crazy
the big
captain.
sword.
Oh,
Yes, so it's the more immediate threats that we should be concerned about.
oh no,
Like
she.
if we
From what you can gather from that conversation, she basically just didn't want you as a group staying here and running up trouble. It would
okay.
probably be okay if you need to leave a comrade here.
Yes, but if we bring him along, he could try and catch more javelins. I mean, help us in our
Are
journey.
you saying this in character?
Yeah, Take kind of looks up at you and says, "You are quite the interesting woman. I'm rather scared of you. But I
No,
would
it's not
need
intentional.
payment up front. This
Oh.
would be not a difficult, but it would be a time-intensive operation."
Well, Stefan, whatever your name is, do you have to go for this?
Silver. You mean.
He
Silver,
kind of
yes.
puts a hand over his chest and says, "How much?" And Take looks over and says, "It would cost about 200 silver pieces plus a silver piece a day for me to actually feed you." And he looks over at Nikiba and says, "I could pay for it, but I don't have any money after that. You'd be leaving me stranded."
Mm, well, we should.
And would he be fine to travel? And you said he would not be fine to travel afterwards, right?
He needs about a week worth of rest before even moving in the back of a cart much more. Otherwise, internal bleeding could open up again. He could probably
All right.
travel by horse a month after the surgery, but a week at least for the cart. And
Okay, so I will take out one Fenmei and give it to the doctor,
all right,
and I'll turn to Steven and say,
this should
"Well,
be enough to cover half of it, and then not Take. Steven says, "All right, here you go," and he pulls out a handful of silver coins and says, "Open me up, Doc. Just make sure it doesn't hurt too much." And then you hear calling from the cart. Harness says, "Steven, I've going to leave you some provisions for about a week's worth if you need to travel somewhere after this." And he goes, "Ugh, thanks." Meanwhile, what's Myron doing?
So you said there aren't many people out yet. It's not too hard to find like a.
I mean, it's like noon now. It's a small town of about 3,000 people. It's just like most people are either probably working fields or doing a job right now at the middle of the day. Now that it's closer to noon, you see a bit more people probably sitting outside having some lunch or something, unpacking a lunch for the day, or going to one of the few inns or taverns around to get a midday meal.
Okay, I look for someplace less busy where nobody is.
You can eat
Preferably
after
behind some
5 or 10 minutes of searching. You can find a deserted back alley.
Okay, and then I will take out my scythe and slam it into the ground.
Okay.
And sprinkle some water on it and cast plant growth.
Okay.
And then I sit in the center next to my scythe and I start meditating.
Alrighty.
And an hour later, I cast Commune to try and speak with Aristil.
Yep, you get 3 questions. And they typically will be answered in a yes or no fashion. If you ask a yes or no question, an answer is guaranteed unless the answer is unknown. You can ask non-yes or no questions, but the answer may or may not be given to you. But if you ask a yes or no question, it'll be given yes or no.
Alright. I think to myself, Lord Aristil, Is our companion Ren still inside the town of Gotan?
After a couple minutes, you feel a slight breeze, and then you feel the sound of gently falling leaves, and then the neigh of one of the horses off in the distance, and you get a calm, serene feeling that the answer is yes.
Did our companion Ren leave his hotel room by his own will?
Another minute or so passes. You hear the trickling of what's probably a stream off in the distance. You hear a cow mooing, and then you hear the giggle of what you're pretty sure is that little girl from earlier. And then you also feel this nice, comfortable warmth again, and you think you're getting the answer yes.
Is Ren planning on returning to our group within the next day?
A couple more minutes, and then the wind intensifies, and you actually hear an uncharacteristic crash of thunder off in the distance, and it feels as if rain suddenly starts falling on you, even though there isn't, and you get the definite feeling that the answer is no.
Alrighty then.
And then slowly, over the next few minutes, your connection with Aristil fades. Although the bloom wildlife around you, you've made this small kind of explosive growth of flowers. There's this small, what looks to be a willow tree that looks to have grown for a couple years now. It's about a couple inches thick, and then some grass has grown in this alley.
I stow my scythe and I go to find the group again.
Okay. It takes you a little bit because you weren't quite because you have to backtrack through the alley you went to find an empty one, but you find him eventually just as you hear Haruna yell that she's leaving a week's worth of supplies for Stephen.
Okay.
As I assume Amelia and Nikiba are walking out. Unless they want to stay for the surgery. But it's going to take at least
Amelia
a day.
does want to stay for the surgery, actually.
It would take a day,
And and as long as Amelia's there, Akiva would stick around to make sure she doesn't do anything too intrusive or too stupid.
Too stupid? What? What does that even mean?
I do not say that out loud.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, I will go ahead and make my presence known by kind of entering, I guess, or, waving at Haruna, and I'll wait for people to start coming out.
I'll do a gentle cough at Amelia. Perhaps it is best we leave the doctor to do his own work and we proceed on our own travels.
We're in a rush, I suppose. I kind of wanted to see the surgery though. 5.
Can we please leave Amelia behind, please?
What? Oh well. Okay, we can go. Let's go.
If you're planning on leaving the town in the next day, the answer is no. If you're staying in town for a couple nights, you can split Amelia off wherever you want to.
Wow. I feel so loved.
I'm not doing extended party separations. It's too much of a hassle.
So loved. That's it. Yeah, that's fine. I'll deal. Cries.
Haruna looks around and says, well, it looks like we have everything we need. What's the plan for here?
So good news and bad news. Ren seems to still be in Gotan, but he definitely left of his own free will, and he's not planning on coming back. At least, not today.
Why would he leave his spyglass behind?
I don't know. I didn't think to ask that of the stag god.
This is a mystery I do not care much for, anyways.
Well,
Although,
shall we,
although Samriel seems to care a lot and is writing down like every word that Myron has said. And her
Yeah, this
her
is
long
the-
pointy elf ears kind of poke up a bit when you say stag god, and she's like, interesting.
Stag God, Stag God.
Gotta love druids, man.
well, I guess that's everything we needed to do, right? We can leave, I think.
We've got provisions for a little over a month. Should get us if we take the road, it should get us at least to the halfway point where there's that trade post we passed through about a month ago. And then from there we can 2 more weeks and we'll be at our destination.
Much as I do worry about our companion. Typically, when one does not want to be found, it is rather difficult to find them again. My brother once had to learn that lesson with a sparrow he had taken a liking to. But, well, all natural things in their due course.
Was it an
Is-
African sparrow or
God damn it.
Is there a faster way than taking a month and a half?
How
Or
much
is that about normal?
Finmai do you have?
No.
Not a significant amount. As in-
Unfortunately, I don't think our friend Matthew Sheen would be keen on selling more horses at this point.
No, we could hire a one of the trading barges to order up river, but we'd probably have to pay quite a bit because they usually don't go up. They'd be they're trading barges that come down downriver. It's fairly common to go from a large city down to a smaller one with docks elsewhere for trading. But well, they'd be going back up empty, except for us. So we'd need to make it worth their while.
I see.
They could probably get us there in 2 weeks, but we'd need to pay them quite a bit. And I'm afraid I don't. She hefts her small bag of silver coins, says, I don't have nearly enough to do that myself. Not even if I wanted to. I kind of like having money.
Well, I guess we go the scenic route.
Is there a chance that I would know anyone like within, I don't know, a shorter trip than a month and a half to where we're
You
going?
can roll a knowledge nature to know if you have ever, or a local, whichever one you want, to know if there are any druids this far out that you have heard of.
I was thinking druids, or like if any nobles oversee these fields nearby.
You do know, without even having to roll, this at least this area is independent. It's completely in the free
Okay.
marches. It's ruled by the, as Amelia put it, the angry sword lady y'all met
Got it.
last night.
Yes, she was really angry.
And
was.
as the leader of a mercenary captain, you guys can probably deduce that she's not quite a robber baron, but the reason she controls this place is because she has a lot of angry people with swords as well.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 26.
All right. Probably about. So it's not on the road. It's actually towards your destination as the crow flies, but about a week's march or 2 or 3 days on horseback north of here, there is not a druid, but kind of a ex-druid, someone that didn't quite make it, woods person, kind of an adept of the woods that makes their home here, and they're known as the moniker Father Greenbeard.
This is an spirit.
Well,
And you heard some rumors in the Druid Enclave. Basically, is like he didn't quite make it because he wasn't he cared a lot more about nature than actually, interacting with other people in the Enclave or even with the Stag God or anything like that. He just really liked nature, kind of like a modern day hippie, minus the drugs.
Well, we could ask Father Greenbeard, though I think it would take 2-3 days to reach where he is and ask if he might have any suggestions.
You guys
He
do
was
realize that if you can get a hold of other horses, you don't need to take the cart with you anymore because you don't have an injured person.
Yeah.
So you could go faster, and you don't have to take the road without a cart. So if you want to keep the cart, you take the road, obviously, but you can cut across country if you just have horses.
He was always a bit of an odd one, though. And that's coming from
a druid. He was too weird to fit in with the druids.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a concern, isn't it?
Mm,
Just a
little bit.
Says Amelia.
What? I'm a paragon of never mind. Forget it.
Think about your words.
Paragon of things. Things. Some things.
Go ahead and roll me another craft alchemy, by the way.
Oh
Because,
yes. God, I actually have a lower score for this because I'm using this skill again.
Well,
31.
Oh, okay. This is blue spit extract.
Oh, it's a horrible poison. It is, isn't it?
It's well, it's the effluence left after a violent death of a disease that is used as a poison.
The violent death of a disease.
Effluence, basically coughing up blood and stuff like that.
Mm.
Oh.
But it's commonly used as a poison.
So I'm sick now.
You feel fine right now.
Guys, I ate disease spit. I tell this to
question.
I
dear.
didn't mean to. I thought it was cake batter. In my defense. I mean it's not much of a defense, but yeah.
Yeah, so I
Help.
have a question.
Yes.
If I
Please
wild
help.
shaped into an air elemental,
Mm-hmm.
flew all the way to where Father Greenbeard is,
Yep.
and then flew back, how long would that take me?
8 hours one way. Since you are doing it as the crow flies, don't have to walk anywhere, no terrain, stuff like that.
Okay. I mentioned to the group, well, I could go and ask him by myself. It would only take about a day, but I don't know if you all want to stay here another day. We could camp outside the city. Oh, I could make you a lovely spring. Oh, and I could give Apple those fruits I mentioned earlier.
The wilderness is always good for contemplation.
If you can
And
take care of it that quickly, I mean, otherwise it's going to take us a month and a half. So, I guess do what you need. We can camp outside the city.
Oh, splendid. Okay. Well, let's get a little distance out of the city. Just so
Yeah, y'all are still standing around the middle of the city right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
make some distance.
All right, y'all pack up into the wagon.
Yeah.
All right, about how far mile-wise are y'all going? It would have to be east if you're staying on the road.
Not west.
Or west.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just far enough that people from the city can't see if I spring a giant grove of trees and shit.
So a couple miles.
Yeah.
All right, y'all go. Actually, we'll say it is a D3 plus 1 miles. Go ahead and somebody roll that. Just depending on the topography, that's how far away you'll need to be.
4 miles.
4 miles. All right. Rolled max. So about 4 miles out, which takes you a little over an hour with the cart, not much longer though. And there's this big winding bend around this. It's not quite a mountain. There's not really any mountains here, but a rather large hillock. And then you can it's not quite a plain because this place is still pretty woody, but more kind of a shrubs in between two different sections of wood. You can probably make a glade in.
Okay. I take out my scythe once again and I slam the blade back into the ground. And this time, as I chant, a much larger glowing rune kind of circles out from it. And then a few seconds later, these like magic tendrils come out of the ground and they begin to take the form of trees, and then they become solid. And there's a nice little spring in the middle as I cast Grove of
All
the
right.
Spire.
Yep. And Haruna will pass out after seeing this display, and you now have a magnificent wooded glade.
Oh, when she wakes up, someone tell her to eat the fruit. And I pick a couple of them and feed them to Dandelion and Apple.
They seem very happy.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I will be back in a jiffy.
And you turn into an
Turn
elemental.
into an air elemental, and I fly north.
Okay. Go ahead. We'll talk amongst the party for a bit, but go ahead and give me 2 nature checks while you're on the way, just so you don't get lost. You shouldn't, but or survival, whichever one you want.
Which one's high? Okay, this one.
Because you know roughly that you don't know exactly where to go, but you know roughly the area, and from the air, a druid's or ex-druid's home should be pretty easy to spot.
I got a 25 and a 24.
Okay. We will do the party for now, but you do manage to find it.
Oh, good.
In 8 hours from now.
Okay.
But the rest of the party, Haruna, after a couple minutes, she wakes up from passing out and says, "Oh my goodness, I did not. Whew. When I took this job, they told me there would be some sorcerers around, but I did not expect this level of magic to be so widely available."
It's just her. It's really just her.
She looks over at you and says, "Truly, it's none of you are strange like that?"
Well, I don't know about strange, but none of us can turn into gusts of wind and fly away.
That's a little.
Yes, I cannot do all of those things at once either.
Her eyes kind of widen at once, but she thinks you might be joking, so she just kind of goes, "All right, I'll just start setting up camp. That's something I know to do."
I shall help, and afterwards I shall rest and contemplate.
All right, so it'll take y'all about an hour to set up camp. While they're doing that, what are Amelia and Bartolo doing? Samuel
trying to-
is just writing again. She's not helping set up the camp.
Amelia's actually a bit scared of disease, so she's gonna start trying to revert. Can I try to create an antidote or something for the horrible thing I just ate?
So alchemy is not the same as medicine.
Yep.
There actually is craft medicine and medicine checks, heal checks. So
Yeah.
you can't. You can use your alchemical knowledge to make a heal check to try to craft something like that, but you aren't a trained healer so much as a trained alchemist. It's a little different.
Yes, I know. I get it. I'm just like, oh dear. Yeah, but Amelia's gonna be panicking about that right now.
Yeah.
Like,
So do you want to try a heal check using your alchemical knowledge?
yeah. Why not? You know, in for pound, in for round. Wait, no, that's not how this.
All right, go ahead.
not how-
In for a penny, in for a pound is the saying.
No, I'm intentionally mangling it.
Oh, okay.
Do I just roll alchemy, right?
No, you just roll heal.
I just roll heal.
Because you're an alchemist, not a healer, but you were trying
That
to
is
do a healer
true.
thing.
Oh no. Wait. Wait. Let me just check something. I can just switch. Can I switch? I like to switch my +5 from climb
Yep.
to heal. So this won't be absolute suck. 18.
Okay. Nikiba and Bartolo, you notice that Amelia is eating a charcoal stick.
Okay. I mean, that's not going to
That's-
kill you, but
Is this like some sort of fancy chicory stick that tastes good, or
No, it's like literally like a thing of charcoal from the fire. It's just
and like
it's usually you usually use them to restart a campfire or something like that.
yeah,
you
yeah,
doing
and
okay?
like Amelia's not half orc or anything like that.
No,
is
she's
she?
just like she doesn't look calm, but she doesn't look like she's gone crazy or anything. But she's just like chowing down on a charcoal stick.
And I don't know that she's sick yet.
You
or,
do
but
not
she did
know
say
that she is sick.
Okay,
I only
I think
told
this is
Myron
very
who
strange.
Myron
Yeah,
who then got me.
Amelia only told Myron, who is no longer here.
I think
Wait,
this
she
is
told me
quite
what?
strange, but Amelia is.
told you that she was probably sick, but she didn't tell anyone else. So
No.
It's fine. I'll be fine.
yeah, but Amelia's just eating charcoal right now.
Wait, so
Um,
she didn't tell me anything about it, right?
No, she was just like, "Oh, I think I'm sick now," and then just kept babbling on about something.
Yeah, I mean,
Do I know that
sounds
she
about
ate
Okay,
right for
something
how
Amelia.
long-
strange? Sorry, this might be important. Do I know that she ate something strange?
I was pretty loud about that, I think.
Okay.
About it being cake batter.
Okay, cool. Also, Karina, you look stuck in a yawn or something right now. For me.
Yeah, Karina died.
He did.
Okay, I'm back. My Wi-Fi cut out for a second. Sorry about that.
Yay!
Okay.
You don't know that she ate something. You just know that in her babbling, she
Oh.
said she was sick.
I thought we just kind of said that I did know.
Oh,
so-
you did know?
Did I? I know I'm confused.
If the DM says you don't know, you don't know. It's fine.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't recall you specifically saying you ate something to Myron.
No, I didn't say that. I thought it was known that I was eating cake batter, and then we were quite loudly discussing that this wasn't cake batter. But it's probably.
I mean,
it's okay.
Myron, if she were here, could probably put two together that you had cake, what you thought was cake batter, and then you probably ate it. But you didn't specifically say that, so I'm going to say
Yeah, that's fine.
Myron
Okay.
just thought you were babbling again.
Okay.
That seems about right for Amelia.
It's like, oh no, I'm sick now. I have cake batter. Blah blah. Blah. It's like, what?
Hmm.
So yeah, you do just see Amelia chowing down on some charcoal.
Ew.
Which, I mean, basic knowledge for most people is like you eat some charcoal if you've just ingested some poison.
Hmm.
You're doing okay over there.
Oh, I mean, one of two things happens. Either I this cures me, or I vomit everything out.
Okay, that would disturb my tranquility quite a bit. So finally, I am motivated to
Also,
help out.
Amelia, it's been like 4 hours since you ate this.
Since I what?
Since you ate this, it's been like 4 hours.
I mean, disease is a big and important
I'm just
problem.
saying, like, if you vomit it up, you already probably digested it.
Is this disease or poison?
Amelia knows what she ate, and she can tell you if she wishes, which is
Yes.
blue spit.
So, like, kind of a bit of both.
It is a
Excellent.
disease. So blue spit is a disease, but it can leave basically people puke up this bluish brown ichor, which can be used as a poison to infect other people with the disease.
Oh boy, I do not want to be infected either.
And
Yeah, I
you,
know.
Amelia would know, since you rolled a 30, that the typical onset for this is probably about 8 hours. So you got about 4 hours until you're going to start feeling it.
I don't want to be puking my guts out. Well, I mean, I kind of do want to be puking my guts out if it gets rid of the poison, but I don't really know anatomy, so I figure if I just
Yeah, you
enough
don't know much
charcoal,
about it
it'll-
other than that it since you rolled so high, you just know that it's a poison disease thing that gets you sick.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like winging this right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I figure we use charcoal to extract poisons, so if I just ingest enough charcoal, this will work, right, guys?
One can only hope. Meanwhile,
Sob.
you find Myron. There is this kind of sandy sandbar in the middle of the, well, duh,
A
sandy
sandy
sandbar.
sandbar.
There's
As
a
opposed to
sandbar
a
in
rocky
the
sandbar.
Thank you. I have a DM of many years of experience. In the middle of this sandy sandbar, there's a little hut sitting in the middle of the river, and around it is a little patchwork garden of flowers and probably root vegetables and stuff like that. And it looks like a orange tree, which typically doesn't grow in this region, is also out front. And it's a little two-story, kind of not quite a house; it's more a shack. But there's this old man out front with a hood over, and he's currently humming to himself. And it looks like he is picking some root vegetables.
Right,
Currently, you're about 100 feet in the air looking down at him.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and land, and I'll say, wait, shit. You said his name was Greenbeard?
Father Greenbeard.
I'll say, hail, Father Greenbeard.
The wind's talking to me again. And he turns around, and he has a long. It's actually kind of a gray beard, but it's intertwined with all these little flower petals and green stems of what looks like ivy. So it actually kind of makes it look like he has a green beard, but it's actually just plants growing in it. But he turns around and he has these really long eyebrows that instead of going out, they kind of go down his side, kind of like a Fu Manchu, except that it's eyebrows, and they go down the side of his head. And he goes, hello," and then he's bald otherwise. I can't see you because you're the wind, but I assume you're one of those folk from.
Back.
Oh, you did change back. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, hello. Are you from the Enclave?
Oh, well, in a matter of speaking, I suppose. My name's Myron.
Hello, I'm. Well, my name's not important. Call me Father Greenbeard.
Yes, I actually came asking for your assistance with something.
Oh, how can I help you, my dear? Here, sit and have a turnip. And he hands you a freshly harvested turnip.
Oh, this one's fresh this time? This one's not rotten? Okay.
Nope. Don't. Hey.
Right.
Rude.
I will accept the fresh, not rotten turnip. And I say to him, well, my companions and I were traveling up to Neth. We were quite close, actually. And then all of a sudden we weren't. And we were outside of Gotan.
Well, that's rather confounded.
Yes. Were I
Winds
back
do change differently these days.
Indeed.
Not like when I was young.
Indeed. There was a rather nasty set of birch trees that we were moved near to, and, well...
Oh, no.
Not that I wish to point fingers, but in any case, we need to get back up there as soon as possible, and we're not too keen on the road. I was wondering if you had any suggestions.
Well... Neth, you say?
Yes.
Any particular part of Neth?
Shit, what part of Neth was it?
South
the
of
southern
it.
border.
The southern border.
Well, I can't get you there exactly, but there is a fairy circle right over there, and he points across the river and says it gets you to the northern parts of Neth. I'm not sure if that would save you the time you need, but
Where's the map?
the
I close
DM
it?
also doesn't know if that time you need.
The map. So the northern part of Neth, that looks a hell of a lot closer than.
Yeah.
Than going the long way around.
I think so. I'm just not sure of the exact.
It's like.
Yeah, I'm
it's
looking
like
now.
A solid eighth of the trip. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That is helpful. Okay.
Oh yeah. That would save you a fair amount of time.
Yes. Do I know how to use fairy circles, or does he know how to use fairy? Okay. First, do I know how to use fairy?
Do you know? I don't know. Do you know how to use fairy circles?
Is it something the Enclave would have taught me?
It is something the Enclave could have taught you. I'm saying this is a character you can choose to know or not.
Yeah, I think I would then. If the
Okay.
Enclave, if it would have been something they could have taught, then yes.
It is something medium to high level druids are taught eventually. Yeah.
I'm a
Especially
medium-level
in this
druid.
place, the spirit. Remember though that there are no planes. There is the material plane, and then all the other planes together called the spirit world. But
Okay.
basically, what a fairy circle does, it lets you temporarily go into the spirit world, which travel is much faster. So,
Right.
like a day or two in the spirit world, if you know where the other destination is, would save you weeks potentially of
Yeah.
regular travel.
Okay. So
You'd have to enter the fairy ring, of course, but I can tell you the markers and the sites to get to the one in Neth. I can also tell you one. There's quite an interesting place down south in the ocean. Although I'm not sure. He looks close at you. I'm not sure you can breathe water yet.
well, actually, but I'm getting off track. No, I think that northern spot will do very nicely.
Of course. Well, it's right there. You see that stump right across the river? It's right by that stump over there.
Oh yes. How big is the fairy ring?
Well, I mean, it's about as big around as if I laid down and stretched out my arms. Probably two of me in a circle.
Oh, that will do nicely. Oh, Father Greenbeard, you've been such a huge help.
Of course. I've just pointed you across the river.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. I'll make sure
Yes.
to tell my friends right away.
Of course. Do you need another turnip? Yours looks rather unhappy.
Oh, you're right. It does, doesn't it? Well, if you wouldn't mind.
Here, I'll take that one. And he like shoves it back into the ground. He's like, see if his friend feels any better. Ah, yes, this one's much better.
Oh, you're too kind. Well, we'll be
Of
back in a
course.
jiffy.
I don't know what a jiffy is, but I will see you later. And
I give him a wave.
he turns around before you even transform back. He just like starts completely ignoring you, going
Yeah.
back to picking vegetables.
I will turn back into an air elemental and start flying back.
All right, Amelia, roll me a d6.
This is how druids talk. Oh my god.
This is how druids talk.
Sorry.
Well, this is how non-socially adjusted druids talk.
They are socially just 6.
6. All right. You take 6 non-lethal damage, and since you rolled a 6, I need a d3, please.
Oh, okay. 3. Oh boy.
And you take 3 dexterity damage.
Oh shit.
Yes.
So the charcoal didn't actually help, yeah. Oh, it
The
is,
charcoal helps against poisons, even though this is used as a poison. It is not poison. It is a disease. So the charcoal did not help.
I am now the same color as Ren.
Yes. You are now a sickly greenish blue.
3 dexterity, right?
You've taken 6 non-lethal damage that does not heal with rest.
Mhm.
And you have taken 3 dexterity damage. This is not permanent dexterity damage. So every rest you will heal 1 dexterity.
Gotcha.
All right. I'm guessing also that I don't make it back before nightfall because of how long.
Not before nightfall, because it was a couple hours past midday, 8 hours there. So
I will stop somewhere and get some sleep then.
okay. You did tell the party you'd be gone as much as a day, so that there's no need for concern.
Did I? Okay, so since I'm with Amelia, right?
Yeah, both of you noticed that after a couple hours, her hands start like, well, they always kind of shake because she's super hyperactive, but they're kind of like shaking in like a palsy effect, and around her like cheeks and chin area starts turning this weird kind of bluish green, and then she starts like staring forward, and she's getting the sweats, and she doesn't look great.
You were right.
I'll look to Bartolo and ask, do you have anything to cure a sickness like this?
Well, when
Because it's outside of
that happens, I'm just double checking this here really quick,
Okay.
since this is a really weird ability. Let's see, 1 power per level. Redirected and
Needless to say, when I was undergoing my spiritual
okay.
training,
You said it was
counteracting
3 points.
3 points of temporary dexterity damage. Which means she can heal it with rest, unlike permanent damage, which is just you take it and it's gone.
You can see Bartolo's head kind of cock really abruptly.
Yeah, because
as
Amelia
you take
started
this damage.
coughing. Yeah,
Right.
and when you do your first big cough, when you actually take the damage, a little bit of that brownish blue mixture that you had in the stopper bottle kind of actually comes up in your hand.
And Amelia, you'll feel some sort of I'm gonna call it a psychic pulse
House. Okay.
that kind of goes into your head. You kind of can't tell where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to activate my martyrdom
Okay.
ability,
So you're gonna take it.
Ooh.
which means that I can redirect your ability damage to
Yes.
myself
Oh,
and
that's really cool.
spend 6 of my 11 power points to negate it.
Okay. So Amelia, you cough up this mixture, and like for a second, your chest really hurts, and then the pain, this pulse happens in your head, and then the pain kind of just like disappears. You still feel really weak and tired, which is the effect of the non-lethal damage. But that dex damage you took only actually affected you for about 6 seconds until it's suddenly gone, and you're still sick. You still don't feel great, but you haven't taken any.
How did you do
attribute
that? That's really cool. Cool.
Well, you don't know it has a source. You don't know Bartolo did this unless you made an overt gesture, Bartolo.
I don't actually need to make an overt gesture to do this.
He did say he cocked his head real quick at his side as soon as Amelia did this. So I'd say you could, Amelia, also Nikiba, you could make a spot check to try to catch this, although the DCs can be pretty hard. Even harder for Nikiba since you didn't get the feeling of your pain suddenly going away.
13.
Yeah.
Does that pass?
Nope, everything's normal.
And by normal, that means Amelia is still
Amelia
dying,
is dying. What did you roll for your spot check, Amelia?
Oh, spot. 30. Net 20.
Okay, yeah, you when this psychic pulse goes out is the exact same time that Bartolo kind of turned his head in your direction and cocked his head.
How did you do that? You gotta tell me. Oh, I'm sorry. You are right. It was a kickback.
Well, there was a reason I gave you that little token.
Filled with regrets right now.
Yeah, and now that you have taken, even though it was redirected, you have taken dexterity damage from the disease. So go ahead and roll me another fortitude save.
Another fortitude save? Okay.
Yeah. So the way diseases work in Pathfinder is you need to pass a certain number of consecutive saves to pass the disease. Basically, every time you fail, you just still have the disease. If you fail consecutively, the disease gets worse.
Okay, 22 this time.
Okay, you have one pass. You don't know how many you need to kick the disease, but you have passed one save.
Cool. Yes. Also, I had some of the sample in like a vial. You
have a huge sample in your hand now.
Yes. Don't touch that.
Anyone that is there can roll me a heal check. to determine how this
Yes.
disease is transmitted.
I was hoping I'd come at some. Otherwise, I will just stay very, very, very far away from Amelia.
Yeah, you can roll it. Anyone can roll a heal check.
I got a 17 for a heal
Okay.
check.
Nikiba?
A 16.
Okay. And well, you can roll this as well.
Okay. My 8 this time. Ooh, 22.
Right. You all realize that this is this is spread by ingestion or contact with the bloodstream. So it's actually safe, quotation marks, to touch, and it's not transmitted through the air or anything like that. But
As
if
long as
like
you're not
he
massive with it.
caught,
Still not a very confident thing, but did he time out again?
Yeah, it
Yep.
just cut off.
That's okay.
All right. Okay, so I'm a bit less concerned about being this close to Amelia, but I still do not want to say too
all right,
close.
Fair
Wi-Fi
enough.
cut
And
out
I
again.
most certainly do not.
So I don't know how much
Yeah.
y'all missed. It took me a minute to realize.
I don't think we missed anything.
Okay. Then yeah. So as long as you're, it's not going to be virulently spread everywhere.
I didn't remember when we were doing this. Did we set up off the road or kind of right on the road?
You set up like not immediately on the road, but you set up like a little, maybe 100 feet off the road, and then she created this glade.
I'm gonna send out this little prismatic. We'll call it just a prismatic ball.
Okay.
It'll go sit up at the lower levels of like a tree branch right on the road.
Okay.
That's a psi crystal. It has a sight, quote unquote, sight range of 40 feet.
Do you have to be actively concentrating on it, or can it
Nope.
warn you if you're
I
like
just
asleep?
it's telepathic. I just inherently sense what it senses.
All right. In which case, we'll go ahead and everybody tell me if anyone's keeping watch. Go ahead and tell me that, and we'll call this the night as Amelia kind of wraps herself up and coughing and but not progressing. And then around daybreak is probably when Myron will come back after having slept. Because right now she's in the middle of the woods, probably
I
taking a
also
nap,
take some
in
time-
some tree branch.
Yeah, I also
Uh-huh.
I also take some time to prepare spells before I fly
Of course.
back.
So, is anyone keeping watch other than Bartolo's prismatic orb? That's not a prismatic orb.
Well-
'Cause prismatic orb's a spell.
Nikiva will take a watch,
Okay. We
even though
need-
she's not good at this,
Okay.
just because Amelia's keeping her awake.
I'm sorry.
All right. And then Haruna will take mid watch, and I guess we'll say Bartolo takes the late watch.
Yep.
All right. And since my internet keeps cutting out, we'll call this session here. It's actually my Wi-Fi, not my internet. So
Okay, somebody remind me to cast Remove Disease on Amelia next
I will
time.
write
because
it
I'll
down.
forget.
Oh, we learned something new today. If the baker says it's not cake batter, it's not cake batter.
all right, I wrote that down, Myron. But next session, I should have everything back up and running, especially since they informed me I didn't lose my data, which means I have all my maps and my written out area of Neff, actually, which is really good. I actually hastily wrote Gotan as a, oh no, if my computer lost its data, I need something, which is actually the original reason I poofed you towards Gotan rather than near Neff. Is I was like, I need a week or two of pause, but I think it's worked its way out relatively naturally. I like where we're going so far.
I was
Alright.
straddling grimly a bit there with the cake batter. A bit too much grimly.
I mean, it kind of makes sense for an alchemist. I mean,
Yeah.
you did roll in that one, so it's like, it's cake batter. What kind? Oh, this is cake batter.
I was like, no, not gonna.
Just remember,
I
you
know
can
my
always
stuff.
You can always what?
you can always ask Bartolo if it's cake batter.
Yeah, you can always from now on. You can always ask bakery-related questions.
I will
Bartolo.
forever remember this.
This is a highly specific skill set that could have completely saved you
But
from
yeah, out
this
of
job.
character, I don't believe this disease will be too much of a problem. But basically, every day you'll take 1d6 non-lethal damage. Once you
Yep.
take half your health, which can't be healed by resting. Once you're at half health of non-lethal damage, you become fatigued. And if you ever pass out from it, like if you ever go to negative, you start taking real damage. And then every consecutive failure after the first, you take a D3 dexterity damage, which is temporary.
Or I remove the disease and make my.
Or you
own.
remove the disease. You
Yes.
only
But that would be
you
too
only
easy.
need 2 consecutive saves to pass the disease as well, and you have 1. But if you do fail, like every time you fail, you're gonna be taking this damage. So remove disease if you got a druid around would be a good idea.
The martyrdom thing lets them take my dexterity damage. Is it like you spread it out, or do you just like heal it somehow?
So it's his class. It's his main class feature.
Right. So basically, what happens is martyrdom. I can redirect damage or ability damage to myself. So